2, 3.
Oh yeah.
Right guys, that's the Christmas do out the way. Let's get back onto the golf. Welcome back to another episode on the Mk1 Golf. So today me and Brian over here will be working on repairing these sections here. So I think first of all we know roughly where we're going to be with this panel going on there. So we're going to get stuck in and just cut this off, get this all out the way first and then go from there. So that's the first bit off. Brian's working over here now while I cut this one out. We've actually got this inner lip just here, so I'm going to cut this piece off. You can see this is just where the arch goes anyway, so we're going to cut this piece off. We can do all the repairs behind the arch and cut that all out, so that way we can now gain access to the inner piece that we need to repair, taking all of that out. And we start to size it up and decide what we're going to use of this. So I think we'll cut this down to where the other panel is. We can use this piece as a guide to work out roughly where we're going to be, so we'll come above that to start with. So a very good point actually, we were just discussing the drains for the sunroof actually come out just here into this section, so that's why these rust out, and there is a collection of dust and dirt etc in both corners. So we're going to put a modified drain tube in both sides, so as the water does come down it will come out, and then we'll definitely make sure that all of this is filled with wax. And the replacement panel, yeah, it's actually got a little drain hole. There we go, just in the bottom there. Yeah, a coat of wax won't go amiss, and it should help and aid any water that is going to collect in there to drain out the bottom. So right here we're actually cleaning up all the metal work, preparing it so we can get on and weld the new pieces into place. You have to remove all the paint so you've got clean metal to work to. Brian's just sizing up this panel, manipulating the metal a little bit so it fits better into place. No two cars are the same, and the panels need to be manipulated and shaped to fit best when it comes to replacement panels. Now he's just looking at the inner arch so we can figure out what bits we're going to cut off and put into place. Your hammer. And there we go, that fits nicely, so you can begin to weld that. So we've got to make up this piece here, not too complicated. This is going to go down in this section just here. So we've got some steel, and I'm now going to copy that across and then snip that out. So this is the way I would do it. Not everybody would do it, for argument's sake. Monkey's going to go, what's that sound recording in the background? Doom, doom, doom. Right, so a little bit of trimming. So this is obviously the old piece, this is the new piece, but that will end up just there for the inner panel. First of all, we just need to make this piece up, but I wanted to get that so I knew where we're heading to. And then meanwhile, Brian's been busy over here. And he's just doing a test fit with the arch. So that panel's starting to, yeah, look pretty good, yeah. Starting to line up. All working well. Done the inner piece as well, the little lip across there. A little bit more fettling and tidying up, but we'll get the next bit in. There we go, guys. The first panel is tacked into place, and we'll start getting the next panel in place. What do you reckon, Brian?
It's getting there. Slowly getting.
It's good. Well, it's pretty quick actually. We've done well. Only been a couple of hours. Okay, so Brian, as you've seen, has stormed through this side. We're just doing a test fit on the arch, and everything's lining up nicely. We obviously got to do the next piece just in this here, and then we will shape this into place. We've pulled it back, the arch all fits. It's always good to put the arches back on something like this, just make sure everything lines up and follows as it should. Over to me on the other side. So here we have a layout of our tools that we use, the die grinders, sanders, the Milwaukee grinders and cutters. They help us cut the panels, get them into shape, and as you can see, everything fits nicely. They're easy to work with, and yeah, they're the professional tools that you need when you're doing this kind of job. Now that's all done, we can start working on the inner wheel arch. So that's the piece that I've actually cut out, and then lastly we'll make up the new piece that goes over that. But you can see that fits really well and it lines up with the contours that we put of that, so then we can then drill through this and spot weld that onto that piece along there, weld it along here, weld it along there. We'll grind that all back so it's nice and flush. But yeah, this is all fitted in nicely, it's all solid now. The inner piece is welded. Just need to do a couple of tack welds across the back of that. But all starting to look good, and once we've done this, we'll move around to the back section and a few other little repairs. So this is the piece here that we need to recreate. Let's lay that out. And this is just the way that we do it. There's loads of other ways that you can do it, but it works as long as you get a good result at the end. For some of these parts that aren't attainable, or we can make them quicker than we can buy them and have them shipped out, it's sometimes easier. Now we've got a really good set of shears. I've had these a long time, sharpened them a few times, but they're a good solid pair of cutters. You've got to have a good grip to cut the steel, but this works really well. I've been doing it for years like this, and I can get all the angles that I want. But I find this quite enjoyable. You're making a piece of panel or a piece of metal into a car. To save this from flexing, I'm just going to cut some relief cuts in that. So you can actually get a shrinker as well. We've got one here, so you can shrink the panel. Because we're coming round as a curve and I'm going to be folding these over, these will want to spread out as you bend it over. So this will become a complete curve going round. We don't want that, we want this to be nice and flat. So cutting those few relief cuts in it should help us bend this over. So I'll just get this bent over now. So some of you might be wondering why I'm using this metal, which is actually a piece of metal that we cut out when we cut out the windows out of a Volkswagen Transporter. It's really good metal. It's already got some protection on it as well. It's the same gauge steel, and it's free. So if we can utilise that, saves waste. It's really good. We can make a Volkswagen live on in another Volkswagen. Let's see how that fits in place. Yep, we're not too far off. A little bit of trimming, but that will work. That'll work fine. At this stage, we decided to actually make the replacement panel. Although we've got an inner arch, we wanted to show you guys how we go about making a panel, welding it in place, and what you've got to do to put it into place. Later on, you'll see that we use the replacement panel, so it's a mixture to just show you guys how to do it. So another little tip as well, when you are restoring cars, not all the metal is going to be perfect, and you are going to blow holes when you're joining panels together. It's not going to be that perfect, lovely weld that you see. So the key to not warping is jumping backwards and forwards as you tack weld into place and slowly build it up. Sometimes you need to jump between and die grind it back, sand it back, belt sand it back. Just working on it so you don't put too much heat into the panel, and then little short bursts, and you can slowly build up the holes that you've blown. You also want to constantly watch for fire. So although it doesn't look pretty at the minute, give it a few minutes, we'll belt sand that down, and it'll start to look nice. So much better. A few little holes to fill in, but much better there. So right now we're going to weld in the lower section of this using a replacement panel. So it shows you both stages, how to do a made panel and how to do this panel. So now we're going to make this piece here. So just cut that off of the inner arch section from Heritage. Right, so there we go. We've got this inner piece now tacked into place. I've checked that that all fits correctly, and this piece will go into place with a little bit of pressure. So we'll get this welded up now. So now that's all cleaned up, we can spray some weld through primer. Just let that dry for a minute. Right, that's dry. Let's get this panel on. Not too bad. Right, we'll now move on to the next bit. Just need a screwdriver to lever that up, get everything in line, then we can tack weld that together as well. Like that, little tap. Let's get grinding. We like to call this progress. So I'll now deal with the final piece. I've just put in a filler there. And this is actually the original piece from there. My plan is to use the arch repair. And we'll work out where that best sits. And if, like magic, we've got a cut out piece. And that's it, guys. We will trim up this down the inside, do a nice little bit of tack welding in there. There's a little bit of welding to be done there. And then we'll move on to the back panel in the next episode. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed watching me remake that and Brian remake the other side. Don't forget to like, subscribe, give us a thumbs up if you've liked what you've seen, if you want to see more, and drop a comment. If you put a comment in there wishing everybody else a happy Christmas, you're in a chance for winning one of the prizes we've got going on with Drive Heritage at the minute. So they've given us some free gifts to give to you guys. So put something down in the comments. Wish everybody else a happy Christmas. Thank you very much for watching. Cheers, guys. So number one project after the Golf is this beach buggy.